This is a story that I'm covering because it's received considerable media attention recently. ITV have done a program about it, and there has been a lot of interest. So, July 2010, in the quiet Northumbria town of Rothbury, it was rocked by the manhunt to find the killer, Raoul Moat. Moat had been out for prison for only 2 days when he embarked on a shooting spree. Whilst in prison, he was visited by his ex-girlfriend Stobbart, who claimed that she was having an affair with a police officer. Now, that was simply said to keep him at bay, to try and stop him from continuing to harass and be interested in her. Unfortunately, it served the other way. It only served to anger Moat more, and as a result of that, his hate for police just grew. Just after 1 a.m. on July the 1st, armed with a sawn-off shotgun, Moat arrived at the house where Stobbart was staying with her new partner, Chris Brown. He lay in wait, and at 2:40, when Brown left the house to confront Moat, knowing that he was outside, Moat shot Brown at close range. He then fired through the window, hitting Stobbart in the arm and stomach, and she underwent life-saving surgery. Later the same day, after calling police to warn what he was about to do, Moat shot PC David Rathband as he sat in his police vehicle on a roundabout. PC Rathband had previously confiscated a van belonging to Moat. The injury left him permanently blind. Tragically, PC Rathband took his own life in February 2012. He'd struggled to adjust to life following his horrific injuries caused by Raoul Moat. Moat, after having caused those injuries, then called the police again, this time to confess what he had done to PC Rathband. He then said that he was going to go on the run, and that as a result of that, the police tried to convince him to give himself up, but he wasn't having any of it. Moat then sent a 49-page letter to the police declaring war on them, saying that they'd taken his children away and his freedom and his girlfriend. He wrote, "The public need not fear, but the police should. I won't stop till I'm dead." And I remember that occasion very, very well. The fear that was amongst everybody, particularly police officers who were out there, knowing that an individual was determined to try and take more lives, not of the public, but of the very people who served the public, the police officers, the very people who were trying to keep them safe from him. A manhunt began. Helicopters, dogs, the Royal Air Force aircraft was even involved. 160 armed officers from around the UK joined that search. Incredibly, police officers from around all the police force firearms teams collected and moved towards Northumbria. It was the biggest mutual aid in terms of firearms officers that this country has ever seen. On July the 9th, police had Moat surrounded on the banks of the River Coquette. He was pointing a sawn-off shotgun at his neck. Then the event took a strange, bizarre turn. And in fact, many of you will have listened or watched the events unfolding on television when the former England footballer Paul Gascoigne turned up drunk and high on drugs. He arrived in his dressing gown carrying a chicken, a loaf of tiger bread, 4 cans of lager, and a fishing rod. If it wasn't so serious, it would be very funny. He was turned away by the police. The standoff continued, and then around 1:10 on the morning of July the 10th, a single shot was heard. Moat was rushed to hospital, but pronounced dead on arrival. He had shot himself. Police had fired 2 taser guns at Moat in an attempt to prevent his own suicide. His death was later officially ruled by a jury as suicide. In 2011, Moat's friend, Karl Ness, and another friend, Qhuram Awan, were convicted for aiding his crimes. Ness received 3 life sentences. He'd been with Moat on the night of Brown's murder and his attack on Stobbart, and he was told he would face a minimum of 40 years in prison. And Awan, at least 20 years. He had driven Moat around whilst he hunted for a police officer to kill. That is when he injured PC Rathband.